Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to do a handover video on this Adria Twin. This particular one is quite a special vehicle. It has been kind of, hand designed in a certain way. The paint colour itself is, it always was red, but it is looking absolutely lovely throughout the entire vehicle, and it really stands out from the standard white cabs and things like that. The amount of extras on here is unbelievable, so we'll get into that in just a minute. But what I'll do is I'll start under the bonnet first. I'll then work my way all the way around the outside, and then we'll get inside after that. So first things first, on this particular one, this is a Fiat Ducato. We've got the engine battery over on the left-hand side. So this is our starter battery, so if you ever needed to jump start the vehicle, that's where you go to for that. This particular one has also got the optional extra air con, so you've got a couple of air conditioning pipes just here with the filling points if you should ever need to get to that. You have got the air conditioning information just here. Chassis plates, so this one here on the right is the one that you actually want to look at, and then the rest of it are, as your standard bits. So we've got your brake fluid attached to the servo just up the top just here. Power steering fluid here at the front, which should be a nice sort of dark red colour. The engine oil gets topped up through this one here, and your engine oil dipstick is this yellow topped one at the front. You have a couple of fuses and relays behind this little box here and inside this one here as well. Your engine coolant sits in this reservoir over on the right hand side. Air filters inside this one, and your washer fluid is in here. That's about it really for under the bonnet. There's not much else I can show you under there. Your diesel filling point is just literally within this little cover here. Okay, so pretty straightforward on that. Inside the passenger door, there is not much for me to show you either. You have got a little bit of storage underneath the passenger seat. Fuses and relays under here, and you've got obviously your glove box there. So these two vents just here, just to the left of the sliding door, are both to do with the fridge. So if you ever needed any access to the back of the fridge, this is where you get to it. I will just point out that if you have got the fridge lit up on gas, you will feel hot air coming out through the top of this vent. All right, just so that you know that. You've got a full-size Omni-Store wind-out awning across the top of the van here. Obviously supposed to be here, above the sliding door, so that you can have the door open and have the awning wound out to cover this area up here. The electric step comes out with this little switch just here. All right, so it's working really nicely. You've got a little bit of a worktop extension just here, and some access to the back inside this little cover. This little rail here, just in case you didn't realise, was for the table. So you can actually have the table sat out here, and I'm talking about this table just here inside. Got Patrick the P&P bear just there. We're actually, just whilst we're on that topic, we're starting to give away one of these teddies with each van, and what we're going to try and do is see which customer can get the van, the furthest away with a picture with the teddy bear, and see, who can get the furthest away with Patrick the teddy bear, and we'll give them some sort of a prize. We haven't worked out exactly what it's going to be yet, but we will do that, and we'll announce, this is the first one we've shown, but we'll announce that in a few months' time probably. So, yeah, there we go. So, as I mentioned earlier on, this van has got a huge amount of extras. Down here to the right of the step, you'll see we've got an external gas point. So as long as you've got your gas switched on in the locker, you will be able to use this external gas point. Essentially, this is your barbecue point. To the right of that, we've got your wastewater drain-off point from there, which just sits up like that. Has actually popped out of its little holder. There you go. Right, so towards the back of the van, because there's not really much else for me to show you on that side. Towards the back, we have got the standard roof ladder, so you can actually get up onto the roof if you need to. Handy on this particular one because you have got solar panels on the roof and the actual factory fitted roof bars. Whether or not they're factory fitted, I'm not sure, but they are the proper Fiat Ducato ones. So handy to have access to getting up there. Being an Adria twin, you have got the ability to lift these out of the way. So the actual bed slats, you can take them out if you want to, allowing you to have a huge amount of storage at the back if you ever needed it. The winder just here, this is for the awning. Okay, so that'll just wind your awning out. And then more importantly here at the back, we've got your boiler. So having this kind of ability to get to the boiler so easily is, well, it's a godsend really. It's so helpful, especially for us when we're doing servicing and things, but especially for you as well, because you've got this little thing down here which is the boiler drain off point. Now somebody in the past has written this on here which basically says what I'm going to tell you now. So this is an automatic drain off valve. Okay, so basically any time that the inside of this fan gets down below about 4 degrees, this dropout valve will drop out and any water that's inside the boiler will drain out onto the floor. So what somebody's written here is that they've put a little paper clip on here around this little bit inside to stop that from happening. Now that's fine, because obviously, you know, sometimes you're not going to want the water to drain out from the boiler. But if you forget to drain the boiler out before winter and before locking it up for winter, you can run into some issues where the boiler can, you know, freeze up and create leaks everywhere. So really important to make sure that you do drain it out for winter, unless you're going to be using it all winter, which is unlikely for most people. But yeah, I just thought I'd point out to you that that is what that's for, and that is the boiler drain off point. Yeah, so it's an auto drain off point, but if you wanted to you know, do it manually, you just have to take the little paper clip off and push the button down. But other than that, nice and simple. You don't have to do anything with any of this, all right? This is all just the PCB and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to do anything with that. It's just that boiler dropout that I need to show you. So on the off side of the van at the back, we've got the bike rack. So you've got a 2-bike rack. Not much that I can show you about that really. You've got some straps here for the actual wheels, and then the arms at the top that hold onto the tops of the bikes. So very straightforward on that one. As I said earlier, for a vehicle that's 2006, if you look at the paintwork there, I mean, some of the best paint I've ever seen, to be honest with you. It's very good. So we've got the boiler vent just here. All right, so if you have got the boiler lit up, you'll be able to feel hot air pumping out through the bottom of this. This is an air vent for the boiler, so that'll be like an inlet for it, I would imagine. You've got your electric hookup point here. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, it's really handy to have plugged in, because it means that you know your battery voltage will be at maximum. You'll be able to use any of the mains appliances and so on and so forth. I'll get to that in a bit more detail in a minute. So the toilet cassette locker, you know, this is another thing that's very straightforward, and it's sort of industry standard. But to use the actual cassette itself, we literally just lift up on the little yellow tab down here and pull the cassette towards us. Once you've got it to this point here, we'll then be able to take it all the way out. Okay, so simple as that to take it out. To actually drain the cassette out, twist this around and take the cap off. Once you've taken the cap off, you'll notice that it's actually like a measuring cup as well. All right, so basically 1 cap's worth of blue fluid goes back inside, tighten it up, give it a little move around, twist this back, and then push it all the way back in. Okay, just make sure that your little yellow tab there goes over the lip. If it doesn't go over the lip, it's not gone in far enough, and it could leak. So it's really helpful to have that little clip pushed over. Okay, and that's it. That is the toilet cassette. The last thing on the offside here is our freshwater filling point. So at the moment, that's in the lock position. So if I just show you how to unlock it. With the keys, I can only imagine it's going to be this one just here. Pop the key in, twist it whichever way it will go, and remove the key. Once you've done that, it will then twist to a certain point and stop, and then you'll be able to take it out. Okay, so that's how those water caps work. Push in and round to the right until it stops, and then put the key in, twist, and take it out. And now it will just spin. Okay, so that's how you lock it up and how you unlock it. So in the actual cab itself, you've got a few things. So you have got reversing camera just there, which I did use to get the van in here. It's quite nice. You have got also down here to the right of the seat, down there in the little footwell, you've got the air assisted suspension. So you can adjust that air assisted suspension if you want to, and there is a little diagram down here telling you how to do it. Okay, it's so simple. Don't worry about that at all. Right, on the door, we've got the electric windows and the electric adjusting mirrors from this one here. You've got your washers and wipers on the right hand stalk, indicators and lights are on the left hand stalk. You've got the 5-speed manual gearbox. Reverse is lift up on the back and push over to the top left hand side. You've got your ASR switch, which I believe is all to do with the not cruise control, the stability control. All right, so like your ESP and all that sort of thing. Fog lamp, hazard lights, obviously your radio there. We always pop them down like that just so they don't drain the battery out when you're not using them. And below that is all just your heater controls. So air conditioning is from this little switch here. And the rest of it is just, fan speed, temperature, all that sort of stuff. So it's the rest of it I very rarely explain because it's just the same as any car, really. Nothing to it at all. So both of these front seats swivel round. So you have got a little handle here, which as you pull on that, you'll then be able to swivel it. I can't do it with one hand, but when you lift this up, you'll then be able to swivel the seats around. So it's super easy. And once you've done that, you'll then have like a really nice dinette area just here behind you. So, let's climb through there. So as I said, Patrick the P&P Bear, it's just a little thing we're starting up, as we're sort of, expanding as a business. We're just doing, trying out little things. We thought we'd give one of those to each customer. And, as I say, see who can get in the furthest with a picture. And we'll arrange some sort of a prize. So yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that goes. So with the layout of the vehicle, we've got sort of the kitchen just here, which does completely fold down and give you a huge amount of storage. Worktop space. Yeah, I've just got these keys over here. But when you have them up as well, nice little kitchen, 2-burner hob and a grill underneath just there as well. So in that respect, in that sense, with the 2-burner hob and the grill, I very rarely go into any detail of those because, especially with the cooker, it's just literally you have to have a lighter or something to light it up, but you just push in and round to the left whilst igniting and it will light up. Same sort of thing for the grill. Only difference really is that you have to have the grill door open and you've got a piezo ignition to light it up with. So that's the only real difference. There is a light in there as well, as you can see. But yeah, there's nothing to it whatsoever. Very, very simple stuff. Below that, we have got a load of storage inside here. Nothing interesting for me to show you. And then a bit more storage just there as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll probably start with the control panel, I think. That would be the most logical way to start it. The control panel is in a bit of an unusual sort of place. It's over here towards the back of the van. I think it was the only sort of logical place that they could put it because it's quite a big control panel. But yeah, it's very, very simple. There's barely anything to it, but I will run you through what we have. So, over on the right-hand side, we have got, or actually I'll start over here, sorry. So this is our main sort of on and off area. So we've got the 12-volt on and off switch. When I turn this off, everything 12-volt related, including all of the lights and all that sort of stuff, is now off. When I turn it on, everything springs back to life. So if we had the electric hookup plugged in, we would have this little yellow light here illuminated, just telling us that the hookup was in and working. All right, but for the time being, we're just going to have the 12-volt on. To the right of that, we have got our battery voltages. So if I press up, it's showing us the leisure battery voltage. And when I press down, it's showing us the vehicle battery voltage. So if I do that, So we're at full power for the Leisure, full power for the vehicle. And I haven't had the hookup plugged in or anything like that. It's just that they're good batteries, and we've got the solar panel up on the roof. Obviously it's been outside all day, so it's having some charge put into it. So great voltage on both of those batteries. To the right of that, we've got our freshwater level and our wastewater level. So let's have a look at the fresh. So I've got about half a tank of fresh water, and our waste tank is empty. So that's perfect. To the left here, we have got your fuses. So if there was an issue with or if a fuse had blown for a specific thing, it will light up here telling you what one has blown. So if a lighting circuit goes, it will tell you that the fuse has blown for that. And yeah, it's just like a little diagram there telling you if there's any issues. To the right of that, we've got your waste tank heater and your water pump switch. So in this particular case, the water pump is what's called a submersible pump. So in other words, the water pump itself, instead of being what we might call an inline pump, which means that it sits by itself and draws water from the tank, a submersible pump is fully submersed inside the tank in the water. So the difference between the main difference between a submersible pump that you've got in here and a normal, well, I say normal, they're about half and half really what they use. But the difference is that your one, the submersible one, only comes on when you physically tell it to. So what I mean by that is, in this particular case, you've actually got little buttons around the van. Got one here and another one over there, which is like a switch. So you do actually have to press buttons to make the pump come on, if that makes sense. So if I show you what I mean, with the tap, lift up the tap to a certain point. That's just residual water from when I used it earlier. So I'll let that go, let all that residual water run through. Quite a lot of residual water. All right, so it's just sort of running out now. So you'll see that when I press this button down here, this little silver button, you'll see what happens. So it's only now that I'm pressing that button in that we're actually getting a decent pressure come through the tap. I'll let go of it now and it will just start to run down again. All right, I can turn the tap off if I don't want to wait for that. But yeah, basically you have to use those buttons to actually draw the water through from the pump. So basically, long story short, you can leave this water pump switch turned on all the time if you want to, because it won't do anything at all until you press the button for the pumps. So that is the control panel. So on the same sort of topic of water, it's really important that you understand how the cold and the hot water side of this van works. This is pretty much the same for all motorhomes, especially all motorhomes with a water heater. So in this particular case, because you've got the water heater, you do have to make sure that the boiler is actually full of water before you start trying to use it. And the only way to do that is by drawing the water through the tap. So basically, because the boiler is the first in line for the water, on the hot side anyway, because it's first in line, you will not get water coming through the hot side of the tap unless the boiler is full. So a really simple and quick way to check it is just put the tap all the way up to the hot side, press your button down here, and let's just see what happens. So it's not coughing, it's not spluttering, it's not going all over the place. Got good pressure. So straight away, I can tell you that the boiler is full up. If the boiler wasn't full of water, what would have happened was I would have selected hot and put the pump on, and you would essentially have just got air coughing out through the tap. You wouldn't have got any real pressure coming through, and it would have just, you wouldn't have had much going on basically. So seeing that there's loads of water coming through the hot side of the tap, it's not coughing, it's not spluttering, proves to you that the boiler is full of water, and then you can go ahead and use it however you want to. Okay, so it's a really simple thing to check, but it is really important. So I'm just going to pop these down now because I don't actually need them anymore. And you can see there, nice flush worktop space there now. And actually, to be honest, it's all in such good condition. I mean, for a vehicle, I mean, what is it now? It's got to be, what, 17 years old, I think. Yeah, 17 years old. I cannot even explain to you or begin to explain how good the condition of the van is. It's kind of unbelievable, really. So yeah, it's really, really nice throughout. So yeah, that's the basics of the water anyway. Sorry, I just sort of changing subject. You have got the forward facing seat belts here. All right, so they are proper chassis mounted seat belts, so you can legally sit 4 people in this van. You can technically as well make a small sort of single/double bed here at the front as well. So you can drop this table down to a half height and then use all of these cushions sliding forwards and the front chair there to make a kind of single bed. I say single because it's more of a single bed for an adult or a double bed for a kid or 2 kids. You know, so it's not really big enough for, you might be able to squeeze 2 adults in there, but you know, it's a bit tight for that, really. So they do tend to advertise these as 3/4 berths, so you know, do with that what you will. it's up to you how you want to use it, obviously. So yeah, so we've got loads of storage up and around the cupboards. All right, just throughout the van, it's just, you know, all over the place, lots of storage. Wardrobe just here. Your paperwork for the van is in this brown folder. This isn't all of it. We have got some more in the office, but the majority of it is in there. So just whilst we're here, we might as well start with the fridge and how the fridge works. So this is a sort of typical 3-way fridge. It's a Thetford fridge, I believe. Oh no, sorry, Dometic fridge. So this is just like industry standard, really, this type of fridge. And when I say 3-way, I mean it works 3 different ways. So you've got, on the left-hand side, this is all of your electronic side, basically. So you've got the red switch there on the left, which is all to do with the engine running. So you'll see that when I turn that on there, nothing happens because the engine is not on. Okay, so that's your 12-volt engine running switch. You've then got the green switch, which also isn't doing anything and lighting up, because that's for when you're hooked up on the mains. So I don't have the hookup plugged in, so it's not lighting up. After that, we've got your temperature selector, basically. So you just choose a temperature, and that's all related to the electronic side. So at the moment, the only way that we can get the fridge cold is on the gas. So on the right hand side, we've got the gas options, and you know, it's very, very straightforward how it works. So let me just turn it off and show you how it works. So don't worry about what's happening for a minute. So basically, all you need to do is turn your ignition switch on. In person, you'll be able to hear that as well. It's a little ticking noise in the background, as you can actually hear the igniter clicking away in the back. And obviously you can see it there as well. From there, you press in on the valve and twist it around so it's facing upright. After a couple of goes, flame should come on. Probably because I've just had it on, confused it now. There you go. So all I did was turn the valve down a little bit and tried it again, a little bit lower. But essentially, as long as you've got the ignition switch turned on, but it's not flashing at you, it means that the flame is on. Okay, so it actually worked on a physically, like a mechanical thing down there. So unless there's a flame there, that ignition will carry on. Okay, so that's how you light it up. Let me just check something as well. No, it's not one of those types. So essentially, you can check it by doing what I've just told you there. Make sure the ignition switch isn't flashing at you when it's turned on. And you can also, as I mentioned earlier, put your hand over this little vent here and you can feel hot air pumping out from there. So you can, you know, pretty quickly double check that it's definitely working. So from there are your 3 options of getting the fridge cold. The mains electric, so your green switch and the gas, are the only 2 ways that this fridge will actually get cold from warm. Okay, they're the only 2 that are actually powerful enough to do that. The 12-volt option, or your red switch, is only for holding the temperature inside the fridge whilst you're driving. Okay, First of all, it's not powerful enough to get the fridge cold by itself. And it also, you know, you'd have to be driving for probably an entire day with it on 12 volt for it to actually start cooling down. So, as I say, you basically pre-cool the fridge either on the gas or the mains electric, and then switch over to 12 volt just for when you're on the move. All right, but that's the same with all fridges, it's not just this one. So if I turn it off, you see the ignition switch will start flashing again, telling us that the flame's gone out. Okay, so next thing to show you is probably the bathroom. So the bathroom itself is, you know, pretty self-explanatory overall, really. You've got a shower point that pulls out from here. So you literally just pull that out from there. It's just as simple as that. Nothing to it. A lot easier with two hands to put it back in, but you can do it. As I mentioned earlier, you have got a switch on the left-hand side, which turns on the pump. Twist this open and select the temperature. Hot to the right, cold to the left. And turn the pump off whenever you're done. Okay, so yeah, very, very simple. The toilet is just as simple. If you haven't used one of these before, you know, this might be new to you, but you have basically got a blue button on the right hand side. When you press the blue button, it pumps around flush water into the bowl. You would then use the toilet, and on the left hand side you'll see that you've got a little grey handle. Now basically, when you pull the grey handle towards you, which I'm going to do now, all of that, whatever's inside there, will drain out into the cassette, and then just make sure that you push it back away again. And that's it. Super easy, nothing to it. Yeah, there you go. So, bathroom light comes on with a switch on the side of it there. And that's it for the bathroom. So at the back here, I've already shown you through the control panel. But you have got, over here, we've got your boiler controls. So, the left-hand button here, or dial if you like, is the gas options that you have. Now the heating is gas only. The hot water is electric or gas. Okay, so that's this switch over here on the right for the hot water on the mains, but I'll get to that in a sec. So basically, these are very, very simple. So you've essentially got, at the top, we've got our hot water only option. So that's all the way at the top there, 60 or 40 degrees of hot water. So going up is hot water only. Back to the middle turns the boiler off. Down once is our heating only option. So that's just heating on its own. And down twice is heating and hot water at the same time. All right, so this side, as I said, is all just on gas. If I wanted to get the water hot and I had the electric hookup plugged in, I could turn this switch on just here, the green switch, and that'll start heating the water up inside the boiler via the electric element. And that's it. Next to that, we've got a huge storage locker, goes all the way through side to side. Absolutely massive amount of storage there. And then the last thing that I need to show you is actually down here under the bed, and it's this sort of funny placed gas locker. I say funny place, it's not really funny places where a lot of them are, but you know, a lot of the other vans will have it on the outside, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. So down here, the actual gas locker itself, essentially all you need to know is that you need to turn the gas bottle off before you start driving. First of all, that's really important. You go anti-clockwise around to the left to turn the gas bottle on, and clockwise all the way down around to the right to turn the gas bottle off. You might find that when you first turn the gas on, you'll have to press and hold this little button here for a few seconds just to allow the gas to purge back through. All right, that's completely normal to have to do that. But yeah, that's it really. So I'll turn the gas off now because I don't need it on anymore. And I'll just show you as well. If I just climb out. on the keys, just here, on the keys, oh, push this up again. It's this one that actually has Adria written on it, which will allow you to lock it up. And that's it, really. So I'll put all this back properly in a minute, and I've got another hand free. But yeah, so I think it's about all I can show you on this van, to be honest with you. So yeah, if there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you want going over again, just give us a shout. But otherwise, we'll see you soon. Thanks very much.